It's more important than ever to build secure web applications, but many developers forget to account for web security. In this episode, we're joined by Tailor Herrarte, an InfoSec engineer, cybersecurity career consultant, beauty ambassador, and content creator under the moniker The Digital Empress. Today, we're discussing types of web security, the dangers of lacking said security, and a few things you can do to keep your site secure. Let's get started. Welcome to the Ladybug podcast. I'm Kelly.
I'm Allie.
And I'm Emma, and we're debugging the tech industry. Are you developing an application with GraphQL but don't know where to start? Or maybe you're building a GraphQL backend and you're overwhelmed with boilerplate code and performance problems. Save yourself time and effort and check out the Grand Stack. The Grand Stack consists of 4 technologies that capture the best of modern web application development: GraphQL, React, Apollo, and Neo4j database, the most widely used graph database. Together, they enable developers to build complex, data-intensive applications at scale with graphs all the way down by leveraging GraphQL. To get started with GrandStack, use the latest version of the Create GrandStack app CLI and download the free Manning ebook, Full Stack GraphQL Applications, at grandstack.io. What do cats drinking wine and a woman making wigs have in common? A lot, actually. They're both the result of someone starting their own business, doing things their own way, and pursuing their independence. Just like a million others who started this journey, these entrepreneurs found the support they needed from Shopify. Are you interested in supporting entrepreneurs? Do you want to solve highly technical problems that support treasured local shops? Are you interested in really powerful tooling to change the retail experience with your favorite big brands? Join Shopify. Now digital by default, you'll have the freedom to work from anywhere and the opportunity to build solutions to help Shopify's merchants and partners innovate through chaos and emerge stronger and more adaptable than ever before. Help Shopify make commerce better for everyone. Visit shopify.com/careers to learn more. So welcome, Tailor. We're super excited that you took the time out of your busy schedule to join us. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm glad to be on here with you guys.
Let me just geek the fuck out for a minute, because I am just thank God that you were yes, I want to be on the podcast today. I am fucking hype. I am so hype. I've never talked to you in person before. I am so incredibly in love with the digital empire. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to gas you up the whole fucking time, just so you know.
Thank you so much. We haven't really talked at all, and it's crazy.
I know. How's your 2020 been? I know it's 2021 now, but it's the beginning. How is that going for you?
It's smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, even despite, the stuff, and I'm in the DMV area. So I'm literally near, DC and the capital. So just hearing about that and that going on, it's just been but other than that, pretty good.
Awesome. We are so glad that you're safe, first off. Making sure that you and your family are just prayers up for you, just making sure that you guys are okay.
We're glad that you're secure.
Yeah.
Let's hope it stays that way, because we still have next week, and we're hoping that these, people don't get too crazy, and what they've already been.
Yeah. We'll keep you in our thoughts for sure. It's hard for me being in Europe. I'm in Sweden, actually. So it's kind of hard being an immigrant here and having to watch everything going on at home. But we could do a whole episode on that, couldn't we? But today we're talking about cybersecurity, which is one of your niches. But first, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yes. My name is Tailor Herrarte. I was previously known as Taylor Tolliver, but I have been married for over a year. And I'm also known as the Digital Empress. I've been going under the Digital Empress since 2015. And I got in, after changing my degree to cybersecurity as an undergrad. And I noticed, when I would go online and research, people to kind of follow and look up to, you naturally look for people that look like you, and I didn't really see that. So I was like, well, what if I do it myself? So I just kind of started putting myself out there. And then over time, I started to realize the importance of providing representation for, women that look like me, Black women, because we don't really have it in this field. So it's great to see Sidney, somebody that looks similar to me. And we have all these other women that are coming up that are Black, and other women of color that are coming into this field. Just women in general. Like, I wanted to see more of that, and we're getting it over time. And been doing that. And then now I've kind of like transitioned into being an entrepreneur and selling beauty products. And because I do like my beauty, I like my lip gloss, I like to look cute. So I think it shouldn't be something strange to look cute, even though we're in the tech industry. We're still women at the end of the day. So we have our things that we like. So I wanted to share with my audience something that, they would feel good wearing while also being badasses in the tech industry.
Preach.
I love that.
Apps. Preach. Where
can we find your beauty products? Are they linked on your website?
They're all on my website.
Perfect.
So I sell lip gloss and lashes right now. And I also sell webcam covers to, keep the whole security thing going, and seeing so many people not have webcam covers. So I was like, well, why don't I just create my own? And I sell those as well.
I love that. Y'all, we're going to link all of Taylor's stuff in the show notes. So feel free to go check out her lip gloss and her eyelashes. I just checked them out. They look fabulous. So y'all should check it out too. Oh. Yeah. That's awesome. So I don't know. Sidney, do you have any knowledge about cybersecurity or security in general?
I really don't. And so I think that this is why it's just so great to just be in the Digital Empress's presence, because first off, you, Taylor, in 2020, like I was very fearful of actually like starting my YouTube channel up again. And just having to see your videos, just kind of collaborating with Ari Hale, a couple of other people, like that really just gave me so much more confidence to do more with like what I want to do in the tech space. I don't personally have any experience with any type of web or cybersecurity. I've definitely thought of diving into it, but I haven't gotten to that point yet in my career. I don't. Do you have any, Emma? Like I have none.
I don't have cybersecurity experience, but I do have cryptography experience. I took a cryptography course when I was in college, and I enjoyed that. I think we're doing an episode on that this season, but that's very much different than cybersecurity. So I'm looking forward to learning.
Still with that though, that's one of my favorite subjects of cybersecurity, like cracking, hashing, trying to find out the hidden messages and stuff like that. I love that.
I almost failed that class. Don't tell anyone. It's fine. It's really good that I'm teaching that episode. Okay, cool. So let's move into talking about different types of web security. I think one that most developers are going to be familiar with, if any, is going to be cross-site scripting attacks or XSS attacks. These are pretty common, especially if you're working with forms, right? Taylor, do you mind can you give us a better understanding of what this is? Because I'm still kind of new to this area.
And even like a summary of just like web security in general, even before we like go into this, because I know that a lot of listeners, like me personally, I know what it is. I have a very like bare minimum of like understanding of this. So definitely start with web security first before we go into that.
Good call.
Yes. So basically it's in the name. We want to make sure that everything that we're putting on our websites, everything that's online is secure. Especially now that, we're all getting into e-commerce, we're buying things online, we're buying food, things are getting delivered to us. You want all of your information to be secured, depending on who you're sending it to. So with me running my online business, I have to make sure that whatever platform that I'm using, the users or my audience, my customers feel safe giving me that information, and that whatever platform that I'm using is keeping their information safe. So if you have an unsecured platform, and you're hosting, private information or taking in private information, and it's not necessarily secure, it's out in the open. Anybody can get it, all their social security numbers, passwords, credit card numbers, everything will be out in the open. Yeah, so everything on the OSI model from the application layer to the physical layer is completely secure. Because if anything on that, pyramid is broken or unsecure, we're all screwed, basically.
You know what I find really interesting moving to Sweden is their system of security, especially with data, is so much more secure than the US. So we have this thing called Swish, which is essentially like the country's version of PayPal or Venmo, and really easy to pay for things. Anytime you log into your doctor's application or you make a payment or you do anything, it requires you to use this thing called Bank ID, where you have a PIN code or you use Face ID, and you have to two-factor authenticate into anything here. I'm like, why is the US not doing this?
Because we're slow.
That's the thing. Like, I see sometimes on Twitter, like I just recently saw a girl say like her router kept getting, or her login to her internet provider, you have to log in. She kept getting hacked. And she said that she was like, I asked her, because I'm like, okay, let me go and, help her and see what's going on. She's like, I keep getting hacked. And I'm like, well, contact your internet provider, but do you have two-factor authentication set up? She's like, no. I'm like, oh God.
This is anyone listening right now. If you don't have two-factor authentication on all of your specifically social media apps too, like, yeah, you want to do that.
Oh my God. Is it incredibly easy to get hacked that way? Oh my God.
And so many people, like you wouldn't even, for me, it's just second nature to set that up on everything. But just normal people, everyday people, they don't set it up. And that's usually the first way that they get hacked. So
yeah, that's a huge one. I was also I'm not going to lie. I used the same password for everything. Not now, but a while back before which is super funny because I worked at LastPass, or like the same company who built LastPass. And I'm over here using the same password for everything. I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Anyway, you need to give her a lesson in cybersecurity. Definitely.
Yeah, let's talk about the different kinds of attacks that I could suffer from. Let's start with content security, or CSP.
I looked into that further because I know that a lot of people are getting into like WordPress. We're not really building our websites anymore. Like I use Squarespace to host everything. I know a lot of people use WordPress. People are getting into Wix, Shopify, and stuff like that. So WordPress, though, I saw has like a content security policy manager that you can, basically go in and turn on, and they do everything for you, which I think is awesome. But for me, whereas Squarespace and Wix, we're kind of like this cloud-based, closed-off platform. It's awesome now because I just pay a fee and they go in and handle all of that. So makes my job easier, but I still have to go in and make sure like I see that you guys have, on the list that, TSL or what is it?
TLS.
Yeah, TLS, transport layer security, and SSL. I have to make sure that's enabled, because if it's not, then I'm basically putting myself and my customers at risk. So yeah, we have all of that basically automated now. We just have to pay a fee.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's one of the benefits of using these third-party platforms. We use Squarespace. I use it for everything, to be honest. Who cares if you're a developer and you use these things? I've said it once, I'll say it again. Like, we should never be shaming developers for using content management systems.
Yeah, especially since like the whole point is to be like lazy developers. Like, you're trying to make sure that we solve problems automatically. So I'm shocked that anybody would just be like, you shouldn't be using Squarespace. Shut up. Like, just, okay, you'll be fine.
As well, like, I'm in security. I'm not a developer. Like, I'm not trying to sit and develop a site. Like, I'm trying to make sure that it's up and it looks nice. And then I go back, I go in and then I make sure the security's right, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do on their ends, and then I'm good. But I do have a question to ask you guys. Like, I always have the concern about like developers. I know they give you guys like small overview of like security and like what you could like are supposed to be implementing in your code. Like they don't give you guys like an intensive like no.
Do you want to do that, Emma?
Well, I think it's beneficial for both of us because you went to a boot camp.
Yeah.
So when I was in computer science school, we didn't learn about cybersecurity. We didn't learn about cross-site.
That's crazy.
We didn't learn cross-site scripting. Didn't learn about TLS, SSL, any of these. And just for those listening, we will define what these terms are, in just a little bit. So don't feel left out. The only course I took was cryptography, and that was an elective course. It was not mandatory, but yeah, it's kind of insane that I took a web development course and I went through 4 years of computer science and they didn't teach us anything about, okay, you're building forms. You have to make sure that they're secure. No, there was none of it.
No, like even professionally right now, I went to boot camps and they didn't say anything about like any type of cybersecurity, web security. And even like as I'm in a professional setting right now, we have training courses from like other cybersecurity engineers where they're saying like these are the types of things that you need to make sure that you're including in your code as much as possible. Is it followed necessarily all of the time? No. Are there checks that like make sure that that's happening? Also no. So I don't know how we haven't gotten hacked. I won't say anything else about that. But no, that's not something that's like a main thing that happens at all.
And you guys do develop the code, like is there a process to kind of send it to the security team or send it to someone that no?
I don't even know if we do that. That's very interesting.
Because I'm wondering, like, do you have, you guys go through, tests or debugging or running like it against like just kind of pin testing. Basically, what we would do is come in and pin test the code. Like you guys.
I'm not sure what we do.
We might need to check that out.
I am gonna sit here and state publicly that I am 99.9% certain Spotify has put in place many measures for security. I know, like I was developing the edit playlist modal on our desktop player, and it was 2 form elements, text boxes, and we took special measures with our regular expressions to ensure that no code was being entered into these forms. And so, for those listening, if you don't know what a cross-site scripting attack is, this can often happen if someone is injecting code into your website, specifically in forms, for example. If they enter a script tag into one of your form elements, like a text area, and they hit submit, it can actually go and destroy a lot of things. So anyway, when we were developing this, we heavily relied on regular expressions on the client side to validate our data to sanitize it prior to sending anything to the database. But I'm sure that they have measures in place.
I'm sure that we also have measures in place, but it's not a thing where we are face to face with any of these like cybersecurity engineers at all. So they're doing a lot of stuff like either before it goes into production or after to make sure that there's like nothing crazy going on when it comes to getting any data in and out of our sites. So I have no clue.
Well, we just mentioned cross-site scripting, and I don't know, Taylor, if you added this to Outline. I don't think I did, but I don't know. Who cares? According to the Open Web Application Security Project, cross-site scripting was the 7th most common web app vulnerability in 2017.
That is nuts.
Isn't that scary?
That's super freaking scary.
But that's the thing, though. Like you guys just said, like you don't really pay attention to security when you're coding. You don't have that baseline. So
Did you just drag us? Yes.
I'm not. No. It's not. It's not you. I think it's not you that I'm dragging. I'm dragging like the professors or like the whole. Yeah, the people that are teaching you this. You would think that they would be like, okay, we have this knowledge that it's the most common theme in website security when it comes to hacking. Let's prepare these developers, or just not even like if they're not going to teach you like a process, send it to someone to send it to us, and we kind of go through. That's what I've been seeing. Like, what they'll do is they'll put it out, and then maybe they privately send it to like a security team or a pen test team. You guys don't know about it,
yeah,
and then they'll find some vulnerabilities, but then still at the end of the day, everything is still hackable. So. I just feel as though they still put it out when there's known bugs or there's still a known hole, And then you'll have like a gray hat hacker come in and he's like, oh, I found another hole. And then you guys kind of get like after the fact. I feel like
right.
It's reactionary. It's not proactive. Yeah. It's quite interesting how security is seen as it's not even seen as an afterthought in web development. Like I was going to compare it to accessibility in a sense where we're playing catch up almost, like in terms of the learning path. But security even still is not gaining traction in web development is something that needs to be known.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't see it as we're trying to push it, but when it comes up, it's like a brief conversation.
Yeah.
And then that's the problem over here in the US. Like we want everything to be out so quickly and we don't.
I wonder if, because, TypeScript is one language that's been gaining notoriety the past several years. And TypeScript, I think, does actually help to ensure that the data that we're receiving is the data that we're expecting. I think that's actually one benefit of using it. I've been very hesitant about it because it always gives me issues. But I think overall, it's one way that we can be secure. Taylor, do you have other, I know you said that you're not necessarily a developer, but do you have things that you commonly see with developers, web developers, where they forget to implement certain things?
Let's see. I don't right now. No.
Okay, cool. If any come up, call us out.
Please.
Yeah. So this year I'll be getting more into actually pen testing because I've been more of like the defender of the network. So I'm paying to like logs and monitoring and stuff like that.
What is pen testing?
So you would you hack, like you guys would put out a website or an application and you would hire me to come in and find all the holes.
That's so cool.
That is.
It's like the people
really
that they
dope.
hire. It's like when they hire people to come try to break into your home to see how secure it is. I love that. Would be a fun job.
Yeah.
That is
so
dope.
All of these, features that we're going to be discussing, we basically come in and make sure that you guys have everything on this list. And if you don't, we tell you like, we found this, we found that. And then you would have to usually when you hire someone, they do it separately. Cause I know I've done, I did like a project with a guy in like Germany. He like hired me to come in and like help him pen test the application. And he told me, he's like, I don't fix them. I just tell them what is open. Like,
yeah.
He was like, I don't,
because it's not your job. It's not like you're not supposed to be doing that. Yeah.
He just hacks it and then he reports. We typed up a report and then he talked to them about what we found. And then
that's so cool.
That's dope.
That's what I want to do. He had like his own business doing that. And I was like, oh, I want to do that.
You're making me you're convincing me that I'm in the wrong field.
Honestly, because I know you guys get paper. You guys get paid for that. Just like fix that shit.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I feel like I don't know if it's because I'm really passionate about what I do and I love what I do. I get a lot of people and I start talking about what I do. And I really hope I'm not like glamorizing it so much because it is work. Because I feel like a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh my God, I want to do it. And it can be fun. I've been to so many events and, hacked into stuff and did things, but it is work and it can be frustrating. You're basically the police for a network. So
I feel like that's important for all aspects of programming because a lot of times, especially on Twitter, I've noticed people definitely glamorize this profession. And while it can be great and it provides you with generally like a really great lifestyle, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. And I see so many people, maybe specific types of people who just, they glamorize this whole thing. But to your point, it is work.
It's work, yeah. It's fun, but it is work.
Definitely. So you had mentioned TLS and SSL earlier. Do you mind giving us some information about what those are?
Yes, so TLS is basically the newer version of SSL. It's basically a protocol that makes sure that the data that we're sending back and forth on the network are legitimate. So you want to make sure that these are implemented because any server can pretend to be like, you can have a fake server come up and it can pretend to be your server. So that's why, so that's why you want to make sure that you have these in place. because it makes sure all your information is being transferred privately, securely. Everything is locked and key. So yeah, you've done some pretty good notes so far that I've seen. I'm impressed.
Oh,
Emma.
That's the extent of my Googling here. So I'm going to be pretty transparent. There are a multitude of acronyms in this episode. I'm going to do my best we'll do our best to define them. But TLS is Transport Layer Security. And like Taylor mentioned, it's just a protocol for enabling networked applications to exchange.
That's what we're using now for SSL.
Yeah. Cool.
That's so
fascinating. And then, if you're a web developer, there's a very high likelihood you've heard of HTTPS, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, which is an encrypted version of HTTP. I'm curious, why would anyone use HTTP? Maybe that's stupid of me to ask.
Honestly, but no, I have the same question.
If they want to be bust wide open and they want their stuff, yes, use HTTP. If you want people like me and more skilled hackers to come in and just.
Why does it even exist though? Is my question.
There's a lot of things. We just got rid of Windows 7. They just made it obsolete. But it's why are you still hosting an OS that you're not updating? You're not providing any type of. Why did it have that?
Right.
If you're not going to provide any patches, and there's still a lot of older people or people who are not in security that keep old things and they don't. I don't know why they do that.
So this is a question, kind of a theoretical one. Is it still insecure if you use Windows 7 to go to your website and things? Is there still a degree of insecurity that is happening when people are making their way to your hopefully quote unquote secure site when you're going through something like Windows 7?
So you're saying if you're on an HTTPS site, a site that uses the secure protocol, and you're on Windows 7, so they would have to be hacking the system.
I see.
So because there's so many holes, they haven't updated the system, the any type of security issues that Windows 7 has. When they're looking for vulnerable systems on the network and they see you still have Windows 7 and Windows 7 has all these unpatched security holes, that's how they're going to get you.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah. And one more area of connection security to mention here is certificate transparency. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. It'd be great if you could elaborate. The definition I'd written down is it's an open framework designed to protect against and monitor for certificate misissuances. That's a big word. Misissuances. Yeah. Newly issued certificates are logged to publicly run, often independent CT logs, which maintain an append-only cryptographically assured record of issued TLS certificates. So I guess my question is, what are website certificates and why do we need them?
So your website certificate basically just keeps all the information that you host on your site to make sure that it's up to date. Say if you're running a website and you go to it and it doesn't have an updated certificate, the website's not going to run. The hosting service is not going to run it because it's not. You're basically telling them that you're not secure. You don't have your certificate running, so we're not going to host your website. So for certificate transparency, it helps to guard against several types of certificate-based threats, misuse certificates, maliciously acquired certificates, rogue certificates. And these threats can increase your financial liabilities for domain owners. So certificate transparency basically gives you early detection of misuse certificates, malicious certificates. It gives you faster mitigation, better oversight of the TLS and SSL system. So that's basically what that is. I try to make this as...
No, that was really helpful because, well, I guess most of my websites now are built through Squarespace, and they do have, I have to go through requesting a certificate and all of that. If I just create an index.html file and I throw it up through, CyberDuck, I use FTP and I get my file uploaded. Does that, I'm not doing anything to get myself a certificate. Does that mean my site is going to be HTTP and not HTTPS? It's not going to be secure, or?
Yeah, you're saying you need a specific security certificate for it to run.
Yeah, do I need one? Because like I'm not like I've done that before where I'll just make like a basic static website. I'll throw it up on a random server through like not Namecheap, that's a hosting, a domain thing. But like just by hosting through GoDaddy, for example. Do they handle the certificate, or is that something like I need to be aware of?
They handle it, but you have to buy that certain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't buy that certain certificate, you're going to just have HTTP.
Oh.
So say like, so if you just make just a random website and you host it up, it's not going to be HTTPS.
That makes so much sense now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
thank you for clearing that up. Yes, that's super important.
Yeah. I had all my old sites are really insecure.
You're fucked, Emma. You're so fucked.
It's okay. It's not like anyone knows who I am. So that was connection security at a high level. There's another area of security called data security that this isn't something I necessarily thought about as being an area of security. But when we think about local storage, which is often used in web development, so your window.local storage property, it's a way for us to store data on a client-side server. A client-side server, a client-side session. And between that and HTTP cookies, these are small amounts of data that can sit inside of your web browser. I didn't think about the fact that these are an area of security we need to be concerned about. Like, have you, what things do developers need to be concerned about with data security?
When you get people are nowadays are talking about, they'll be, sorry, with kids. They'll be talking about, I'll be researching something or I'll be talking about something and it pops up randomly.
Yeah.
From your cookies. So if your cookies are out there and someone hijacks, the cookies off your website, the cookies are basically, I did a project on this a while back with Python. I'm trying to remember. I basically have to go in and secure the cookies, because if you don't secure the cookies, something happens to where hackers can take, information from the cookies and exploit it, however they want to. So I guess with you guys, as far as like being developers, there's a very simple way to go in and secure cookies. At the top of my head, I don't know right now. I would have to go back and see, but there's a very simple way that you guys can go in and secure cookies.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like maybe after a certain amount of time, we have to clear the local storage or something for like, and then I wonder how that works with like GDPR as well, because I don't know, there are so many different things to think about, but
So then my other question is, so we see, I guess, all the time where websites are now like having those like pop-ups where like, we would like you to do something with cookies and whatever, like accept the terms for like doing like cookies and whatever.
So they're grabbing all of the data that you're
we are actively consenting that okay.
If you don't, then they're not pulling on any of your cookies.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
I just want to say I'm kind of angry at the fact that they called cookies something like really enjoyable. Like
enjoyable.
I don't get some of these names.
I don't either. But Taylor, do you just always use incognito mode?
I don't. Sometimes
I wonder, like, if I was in security, I feel like I never use it unless I'm looking for flights, because I'm like, I don't want them to like look at my cookies. Otherwise, I don't care.
Yeah, I use a VPN. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite VPN? Because I have thoughts on this.
So I work with Proton Mail with their VPN. I'm basically I'm a affiliate of them, so I share their VPN with everybody. But the reason why I work with them is because when I was in college, my professors they basically were pushing Proton Mail, like get a Proton Mail. They're based in Switzerland. They're very secure. Everything's encrypted. It's not like Google. How Google, can be. I mean, Google security is pretty good, but still, it's hackable. But the difference with Proton Mail, everything is, ensured that it's encrypted and it's based in Switzerland and stuff like that. So they reached out to me and they were like, "Oh, we would like you to be an affiliate for us to, sport our VPN." And I was like, Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I think that, yeah, and I have like I have their, what is it? Not their, I have like the advanced plan or the plus plan, something like that. Second to highest, and I love it so far. I'm using it right now.
So for everyone listening, if you want Proton Mail, we're going to link Taylor's affiliate link in our show notes.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Shameless plug.
Not even, yeah, shameless for sure. Okay.
Shameless.
So we're going to take a quick break to hear from our mid-roll sponsor, but when we come back, we'll talk about data integrity. Building full-stack applications can sometimes be overwhelming with so many different technologies to think about. Livestreams are a great way to see how the pieces fit together by joining other developers as they build applications from scratch. The Neo4j Livestream features developers building applications with technologies like GraphQL, React, Vue, Graph Algorithms, Gatsby, Next.js, Golang, TypeScript, data visualization, and much more. You'll see how a graph database fits into modern development workflows and how other developers tackle problems like authorization, cloud deployment, data import, and analytics, covering how to use the technologies needed to build and deploy full-stack applications. Follow Neo4j on Twitch or YouTube to join the regular Neo4j live streams focused on building full-stack applications and graph data science. Okay, let's talk about data integrity. There are a few areas here that are really important. I know, Sidney, when you develop websites, have you ever encountered a access control allow origin response header issue?
Oh my gosh. Have I? Not lately.
Okay,
Not lately,
cool.
Emma. I haven't.
Cool. They're awful. I actually remember the first time.
They're terrible.
I remember the first time I got one of these and I was like, what the fuck is this? And it took me like a year to figure it out. I was working at IBM and I was requesting a resource from obviously a different platform. I don't remember. I think I was developing for WordPress and I hit an access control allow origin response header. And essentially what this says is it indicates whether the response that we are requesting, the resource that we're requesting, can be shared from the origin that we are requesting it from. And this is something that I had no idea what it was, and it took me a long time to figure out. But this is an integrity security issue or area. I'm not really sure the right term for that.
And which issue was that again?
So this is the HTTP access control allow origin. And you'll often get this if you're trying to make an API call to a third-party library and you haven't set it up to be able to communicate securely.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're getting like the developer.
That one specifically is web development. Yeah. And it's a very common one if you're working with an application that requests from different APIs. But what other areas of data integrity are there?
So as far as integrity, what I've learned in security is you basically want to make sure that all the information that you come across, it is what it is. You don't want to be putting out any type of information. They dig a lot in this about healthcare, making sure that the integrity of the information in healthcare is what it is and that you can confirm it on all platforms. It's the same across every platform. You don't want to go like if you're in a company and they have different websites in different parts of the states or the world. You don't want to go on one website and it says this or runs this, and you go here and it's this. That's basically what integrity is.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think
awesome.
There are a couple of other things too that I found in the course of my amateur sleuthing. So sub-resource integrity, or SRI, is a security feature that enables our browsers to verify that the resources that we're fetching, for example, from a CDN, that they're delivered without unexpected manipulation. And one other area of integrity, I think this is, again, specifically for web development. This is going to be the same origin policy. So this is a critical security mechanism that restricts how a document or a script loaded from one origin can interact with a resource from another origin. So this is going to help isolate potentially malicious documents and reduce possible attack vectors. Oh, I love that word. That's a sexy word, vectors. So those are just a couple areas of integrity from the web development perspective. There's a lot. There's a lot here.
There's a lot that I've seen. I'm like, oh, I haven't learned this one yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, there are other areas of web security specifically, like clickjacking, just kind of making sure that if you're clicking on something, what you appear to be clicking on is indeed what you think it is. Because I think developers can actually, like clickjacking, quote unquote, is, if they overlay an invisible button on top of one you think is going to execute a specific action and it actually does something else, like download malware or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that. I'm like, that sounds like something someone uploading, or you're thinking you're downloading a software.
Right.
It's actually malware. That's what that sounds like.
Right. And I'm not so sure it's like an issue so much anymore. Like we're moving away from like iframes and whatnot, but you just be aware that this can happen. But yeah, I think one of the last big things is just information security and password protection. Taylor, do you have thoughts on password protection?
Yeah, we would love to hear that, especially for Emma.
Yeah. Okay, Sidney.
So I have heavily been encouraging people to work with a password manager. I see this tweet that goes viral a lot where people are joking about their passwords being weak or told that it's weak through the web browser. And they're like, oh, well, I have a poor memory. And that just makes me cringe because they're like, oh, I have a poor memory. In my mind, they don't say it, but I already know that they're like using the same password over and over and over and over again. So I've been trying to recommend to people like use this password manager, or I give them mine Dashlane.
That's what I use. I love it because I've tried LastPass and I've tried OnePass and I didn't like either.
What was it again?
Dashlane.
Thank you.
It's really good. I like them a lot.
Yeah, and you can create if you don't like the setting that they have defaulted, you can go in with their generator, and I sometimes go in there, and sometimes I go to websites and they're like, oh, you need a symbol. So I'm like, okay, well, let me go and generate a symbol and longer or whatever. But it's great. I have no issues. But with information security with the passwords, the SolarWinds hack that we're going through over here with the government and how we basically are under siege because SolarWinds decided to make their passwords to their update server SolarWinds 123.
Are you fucking serious?
No, I'm not. I mean, yes, I am. I'm not kidding.
Oh my God.
So in 2019, a security researcher actually went in and he's like, he's doing his job. He's going in, he's, testing their vulnerabilities. And he's like, you guys update server is basically SolarWinds 123. You want to change it. And this is another problem with security. You tell them something and they don't fix it. And a year later, 2020, they find out, they start hacking into the SolarWinds applications. And some of these government facilities use SolarWinds applications. And now they're in there, what I like to call it, they're swag surfing on our government.
Oh my gosh.
Password security is something to this day, I don't get why people lack so much.
Yeah, there's no excuse.
There's not.
No excuse. Well,
wow.
This is your sign. If you're listening and you don't have a password manager, highly recommend it. Check out Dashlane. We'll link this all in the show notes.
Oh my God.
So, Taylor, you asked your Twitter followers for questions about cybersecurity. Do you want to answer some of those now?
Yes, please. I know one of them for input security. One of my friends, Cyber Simone, she was looking into that. And I actually found a really great article on OWASP that I went through and saw that they basically explained it. That input validation should happen as early as possible in the data flow. It should be applied on both the syntactical and semantic level. Whitelist validation. So they basically said for this part, instead of, I used to have to do this a lot when working with servers and blocking certain sites, blocking certain applications, or whitelisting them, as they say. they recommend in input security that you whitelist more than you blacklist. So instead of like trying to block everything, because that I've done that, like I've been in this place where we've like blocked a bunch of stuff, and then they're like, you can't, the users are calling in and like, I can't get to this website, or I can't get to this application. I can't use this application because we blocked something that the application or the website needed. So for input security, they recommend to whitelist, things that you want to come in. So you're not blocking off, services or functions that certain applications and websites need. So it says whitelist validation also involves defining exactly what is authorized by the definition. So you would go through this through the email, server side application, anything that you're running on your network, you want to go through and whitelist what you want coming in instead of like blocking everything. So, and I have the website where I found, basically those tips from OWASP.
Oh, yes, definitely. Like, give that to us and we'll make sure we link it in the show notes. Thank you so much for that. That is
I have a lot of websites in here that, I kind of pulled for.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So the next question, I know that I had this question, and so I just kind of listed out. So, okay, for a person that is interested in getting into cybersecurity, we are definitely making sure that we gas up your workbook. However, I do want to know if there are any certifications that you would recommend for anybody that is interested in getting into cybersecurity.
Yes. So the main one I like to recommend is Security Plus. That's
okay.
What you're going to hear basically from everyone. That's what I heard from my professors. They told me to skip the A+, which is more for help desk.
Really?
And,
okay.
Working and taking apart computers. But over time, they started to tell us to kind of skip A+ and Network Plus because we're security. So why not just go straight, hop into security? So Security Plus is going to make sure that employers know, the foundations of security, what you're doing, how to manage servers, systems, how to set up firewalls, all of your basic security foundations. And that's what I recommend that in my ebook. And I have had a few people come to me and tell me they got it, and now they're on their way to getting jobs.
That's
Yay,
awesome.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. So for y'all listening,
wow.
Taylor has an ebook, which we will be giving away this week if you tweet about it. More on that in the outro, but we're linking all that in the show notes as well. My question is like, if someone wants to get into cybersecurity, like, do you have any general advice for them?
I don't want to say, I think a lot of people give technical advice before they give people the mental aspect that they need before they come into this field. Because I think a lot of people, like we discussed earlier, like they hear us talk about this stuff and it's kind of glamorized and they think, oh, we're just, kind of sitting at the computer and typing away and getting into stuff. And that's where I feel like a lot of people want to hop to when they hear about this field. And then when they start studying and stuff like that, they kind of, I've had a lot of people come to me when I'm consulting and they're scared of interviewing, or they feel like they're not confident enough. So, or they're not motivated. They need someone to constantly be telling them, you need to do this, you need to do that. When a lot of us in this field are self-starters. Like if you're not doing your own research, you're not getting up and doing your own projects, it's going to be hard for you. No one's going to want to hold your hand throughout the whole thing. So there's 3 things that I recommend: self-motivation, self-confidence, and consistency. Self-motivation, you need to know that, you're capable of surviving in this field and bringing solutions to us in the security field. We're bad enough as it is over here in the United States. So, we don't want anyone coming in that's lazy, especially after what happened at the Capitol and stuff like that. We have to really be on our toes going on from 2020 forward. Self-confidence, just knowing that the work that you do, the studying that you do is that you're getting you somewhere. You don't want to get into this field and you not believe that you can do it and get where you need to go. And that's going to take you far. It's going to go back to the interviews. If you have self-confidence, you're going to feel more confident in the interviews. You're going to feel more confident networking. You're going to feel more confident, discussing security topics with other people. That comes before, the study and everything and applying for jobs. And then consistency. You have to be consistent with studying. You have to be consistent with doing projects, doing homework, doing whatever you need to do, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I don't want to keep studying, or I don't want to work, or I don't want to do 8 years of schooling. And it's like, I'm still learning. I'm still learning every day. This field is always something new every day. There's 0 days every day. There's holes, vulnerabilities every day. So if you're not consistent in learning and building your skills, you're not going to get very far.
Absolutely.
Major keys, y'all. Major keys. Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great note to wrap this up on. I learned a lot, to be honest. I thought I knew a lot about cybersecurity, and then I realized I know nothing. So I very much appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you. There's still a lot. There's still so much that I don't know. I still feel like I'm a noob when it comes to a lot of this stuff, even though like I have an engineer title and I've worked in a company and done so much. There's still a lot. And then there's so much that I don't know about developing that I need to know as well for security.
I'm super embarrassed that like you had asked us that question and we were just like, no, like we don't have any contact with any of that like security stuff at all. So let me copy your book.
I hear that a lot, but my book I wouldn't go to my book for help with what you guys are looking for.
That's fair.
Yeah. So it's more for people who are trying to get in and trying to get like a general pathway of like where they should start, what they need to start doing, their networking, how to build a network and stuff like that, a resume. As far as you guys, I would start maybe focusing on more like security related projects when developing. I know that there's like a field now where people can kind of go into software development and have like a security focus. So they're building their software all day. So I would maybe look for that.
I think also Mozilla has an entire web security section. We'll add that to our show notes as well for you to check out. Yeah, but with that, I just want to say a huge thank you to you for joining us today. And unless y'all have anything else, I say we move into shout outs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Thank you so much, Taylor. Like this is just fangirl. I've been fangirling this entire time. Excuse me. My shout out, first off, have any of y'all checked out Taylor's badass YouTube channel? She has 11,000 subscribers.
Ooh.
She's always talking about cybersecurity there, making sure that you guys are aware of what you need to do to get into the field, what she's doing right now, what her projects are, how to look for cybersecurity solutions, making sure that you're understanding the right policies. She's answering all of your questions. Make sure that you guys subscribe to her channel, gassing you up as much as possible. Make sure you go check out her shit, guys. Just I'm in awe. I'm so in awe.
I just subscribed
so much for coming.
Not only because we just talked, but also because you have a video called Tips and Tricks for Social Media Security, and I definitely need to watch
there
that.
It is.
Oh goodness. Taylor, what's your shout out for this week?
My shout out is for everyone that's going to be listening to the podcast and supporting you guys and tuning in. I'm so happy to be on here and doing what I love to do, which is providing security awareness. Oh God, this child.
He's trying to give a shout out too.
Yeah, he's trying to give a shout out to his milk.
You know why I love this though? Because this shows that we're real people with real lives and real families.
Absolutely.
Yeah, these are my nieces and nephews, so I'm watching them because their babysitter just kind of like vanished on them. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, everybody that listens to the podcast, everybody that's interested in cybersecurity and, really serious about coming into this field and providing solutions and help and upgrading our security. Thank you for coming, and thank you for eventually being a superpower in our field.
Love that. Awesome. And my shout out is just to 2021 for being, at this point in time, 15 days in and already throwing me massive life events that I am very extremely grateful for, but also what the hell? That's it. That's all.
Are you ready to revoke your 15-day trial?
My 15-day trial is not going to expire ever. So with that, if y'all like this episode, tweet about it. This week, we are selecting one tweeter to win Taylor's ebook, The Ultimate Guide for Getting into Cybersecurity for Beginners, which sounds fabulous. So if you want to win a copy, make sure that you're tweeting. And we post new podcasts every Monday. So make sure to be subscribed so that you can get notified, and make sure to leave us a review. And with that, thank you again, Taylor, for joining us. And yeah, I hope everyone listening has an awesome day.
Thank you so much. We will see you guys next week. This has been the Ladybug Podcast. Thank you so much, Taylor. I'm so happy that you're here. All right, I'm done. See you guys.